Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Eric with SweetSpotDFS, and these are my PrizePicks PGA plays for the 2022 Wells Fargo Championship. Now, if you haven't signed up for PrizePicks yet, I have a link in the description below. That link is going to get you straight to the sign up page utilizing the promo code SweetSpot. And if you sign up using that promo code and put at least $20 in your account, I'm going to give you that $20 back. Plus, PrizePicks is going to match that deposit up to $100, so yet 20 can turn into 40 just by signing up and putting that initial deposit in. But of course, you can take full advantage of the deposit match and put $100 in your account, which will then turn into $200, and it will only cost you $80. So do with that as you will. Highly encourage you guys to sign up. Link in the description below. Now, when it comes to this week at the Wells Fargo Championship, a few things you need to know. One, this is not Quail Hollow, where the Wells Fargo Championship is typically played at. We're at a new golf course that we haven't seen since 2018. Called TPC Potomac at Avenel Farm. Everything indicates this is going to be a difficult golf course to score on. It's a par 70, so when we go to the board and look at some of the scoring options, just keep that in mind. So we can talk about round 1 picks, but we can't talk about round 2, 3, and 4 in this video, but I'm going to give you strategies to use with those rounds of golf. The first being, always go to winfinder.com before any of the picks are set, or before you even select anything, just to see what the wind is going to do. The wind, or wind in general, in golf, wind is the biggest factor when it comes to scoring potential. The higher the wind, the lower the scoring potential, meaning, you know, scoring is going to be tougher. The lower the wind, the higher the scoring potential. So if we have no wind, it's just setting up for these golf courses just to pick apart, or the golf courses, these golfers to pick apart. So when we look at Thursday's wind forecast at windfinder.com, we can see 7 miles an hour in the morning, 7 a.m. Then it actually decreases as the day goes on. So if you really wanted to hit, like, you know, there's strokes that you can choose. If you really wanted to go under with strokes, maybe pick the guys in the afternoon. Again, this is just for Thursday's round. Now, windfinder.com has, you know, I think it's like a 10-day forecast that you can look at when it comes to wind. So you can try to forecast some of these things, but always just come here right before you make your selections. And I would highly recommend either do it late, the night before, or early, you know, the day of. That way you have a much, you know, cleaner forecast, because weather can obviously change on a dime. So highly suggest you do that for all rounds, for every pick that you make. Now, when we get into these picks, PrizePicks has 6 boards you can choose from. Strokes, birdies or better, greens and regulation, fairways hit, hole 10 shots, which is a par 5, hole 4 shots, which is a drivable par 4. If you've seen these videos before, I like to stick with strokes. It's a little easier for me to project. But as we saw, you know, round 1, these are round 1 picks, the wind is going to be much calmer in the afternoon. So you can see the times that these guys are going out at. Most of these are in the morning. So remember that. The wind is going to be up a little bit, but if we're being honest, if I go back to Thursday, 7 miles an hour isn't that big of a deal. Now, will the guys at 1 p.m. have a little bit of an advantage? Absolutely. But 7 miles an hour is not a big deal. It's only when it gets to around 12 miles an hour where golfers really need to figure out where the wind is coming from, which club to use, what type of shot to hit. Wind really affects your golf ball once you get into double digits. 7 miles an hour is pretty negligible. Like, you don't need to really worry about that. So we're looking at these. Remember, it's a par 70. So if you think Rory is going to shoot better than 2 under, hammer the unders. Now, again, this golf course is supposed to be kind of projected to be a difficult golf course. So I don't know what to do. Like, personally, I would rather take advantage of PrizePicks getting this wrong. I would hit most of the unders here. Now, if I were to go ahead and select 5 of these guys, and I don't care who I'm choosing, and I go and hit all of the unders, you will get an 8 times multiplier, which isn't bad. And don't get me wrong, winning money is winning money. 8 times is still good. If you've seen a lot of these videos of mine, I'm always trying to hit that 12.5 multiplier. And I usually take round 1 pretty easy because I want to see what everyone's doing. And then I like to get into it rounds 2, 3, and 4. So I'll show you what my picks are. I'll do that a little bit later here. But if we're going through this, birdies are better. If this is a hard golf course, 4.5 from Rory, probably hard to maintain or hard to get to. Some of these other ones that are at 4, you could probably hit the under and be okay if you think this is going to be a tough golf course. Personally, I think it is going to be tough. Even when Francesco Molinari won the Quicken Loans in 2017, where this golf course was being used, he won at 21 under. The second place guy was 13 under. In 2018, sorry. In 2017, Kyle Stanley won it at -7. So obviously, if you divide that by 4, which isn't a perfect way to do it, but if you do that, that's less than 2 under per round. So with that being said, scoring just doesn't seem like it's easy. Or, I mean, there are only 2 par 5s here. There's one drivable par 4. Typically, you would assume birdies are going to be made on those types of holes, but those are only 3. The rest of the course can be tough, can be a challenging par 4 golf fest, whatever you want to call it. So keep that in mind. I think scoring is going to be tough, but like 2 under, I think can get pretty. I think some of these projections can be easily beaten. Greens and reg. Now, if the wind isn't up, I think a lot of these just become easier to do. I don't have stats to give you guys to make confident selections with some of these. I just have my gut. And I would just say most of your ball strikers, you know, your typical approach players, I think they get a huge advantage with no wind. So I would probably hit the overs on some of these, but 12.5 seems pretty high. And I don't know how I feel about that, honestly. I'll probably just stay away. I really don't do fairways hit, but if we go to like hole 10 shots, you know, we have Rory, Tyrrell Hatton, Tony Finau, Corey Connors. It's a long par 5. So having a birdie or better is probably going to be difficult for like a Tyrrell Hatton or a Corey Connors. Finau and McIlroy just have tremendous amounts of power. They can hit the ball really far. So it already sets up for them to do better. So I wouldn't mind hitting the unders on Rory and Finau. And if you wanted to play all 4, then I wouldn't mind hitting the overs on Hatton and Corey Connors. But of course, that's entirely up to you. I like to kind of make up my mind the morning of, or like just before lock happens for these picks. In all reality, I like to wait throughout the day to see what some of the other golfers are doing and then try to make selections for the afternoon golfers. I'm sure PrizePicks will load afternoon golfers after these 4 guys go through. So keep all that in mind. Now, the drivable par 4, they chose golfers who don't really hit the ball super far. So I don't know how drivable it's going to be for some of these guys, but it also depends on pin position. So always look, if you're on Twitter, the PGA Tour communications page will send out what the pin locations are for this exact hole. If this is tucked behind a bunker or behind some kind of trap, I guess, if you want to call it that, it could be a grass trap. It could be anything. I would kind of play it a little bit different. Like, then it's definitely a 50-50 at that case. If not, if the pin is like in the front, in the middle, these guys are going to eat it up. They're just going to, it doesn't matter where they hit the ball. A short par 4, these guys are going to score well on. So I would hit the unders that way. Again, I'm not making any of these selections now. I'm going to wait as I watch this tournament unfold and make these selections a little bit later. But to get to my pick, I only put in 1, and they're all for strokes. Finau with the under 68.5, Henley with the under 68.5, Leishman with the under 69, Ricky Fowler, I'm going to pick on him, 69.5. I hope he does well, but I'm just not anticipating it. Like, the fan in me wants him to do well, so if he doesn't, you know, If he actually beats this projection and he shoots under, so be it. Then I'm happy for him. But if not, I'm going to feel like a victory because I, easily could forecast that. I'm also going to pick on Abraham Answer. Now, this course seems to be a good fit for him, but I'm more worried about the lower back issue that he was healing throughout the Masters. I don't think a lot of time has really passed since then for him to be fully recovered. I'm just going to go ahead and just think he's just going to hit the over with this. And then that's it. That's all I have. Remember rounds 2, 3, and 4. Check the wind. Just to see scoring potentials that way. That's all. So with that being said, thank you guys for watching. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll see you in the next one. All right, bye.